Hey, yo, what's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy, Ashton Jackson. In today's video, man, I'm going to be talking about the ways in which that the Dallas Cowboys can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. So before I get into the video, I appreciate if you guys like the video, subscribe if you're new, comment, and share my video with anyone who you think will enjoy my content. We always do the injury report first. So starting off with the Dallas Cowboys, the two people that are going to be out is Jalen Brooks, wide receiver with a knee injury. He didn't practice on Friday. He had limited participation on Thursday. Trevon Diggs, of course, is going to be out. TJ Bass is listed on the injury report as being questionable with a thigh injury. They had Eric Kendricks on the injury list as well. Jordan Lewis, Micah Parsons, Wanye, they're all listed as questionable. So is Nick Vigil. So again, I think questionable. We're going to see what those guys are going to be, and we're going to see the inactive list late Sunday night or closer to the game. We're going to see the inactive list. And then for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're going to be without Cameron Johnson, wide receiver. He's going to be out. Antoine Winfield, one of their best defensive players, is going to be out. In the secondary, that's where they're a little bit weak at. And then they're going to have KJ Britt, linebacker. He's listed as doubtful. That's really another solid linebacker that pairs up with Levante David. Kate Otten, that's one of Baker Mayfield's favorite targets. He's doubtful as well with the knee injury. Mike Edwards is questionable with a hamstring. They had a full participation on Friday after being limited Wednesday and Thursday. Mike Evans, they're giving him rest days, of course, because he's a little bit older, but still very highly productive, as we all know, right? Tristan Wirfs, he didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, but was limited on Friday. So I doubt if he plays because, again, he was limited, on Friday, but he didn't practice most of the week. So that's probably another person where he's one of those offensive tackles, one of those great offensive tackles as we've seen ever since his rookie year, where he can just roll out the bed and just be a great offensive tackle. So I think that might be the case where they're trying to give him as much rest as they can possible, and then Sunday he'll just suit up and he'll be ready to go. So again, the ways in which that we do beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one thing that we have to do, and I always talk about it, is contain the run, because I just feel like if a team just wants to run the ball on us and they can run the ball successfully with a great offensive scheme, like Cohen does, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if that is a guy that just wants to run the ball, I believe that he can do it. Now, I know Mike Zimmer will give some fits to that side of the ball. I feel like what's going to make this game even closer or interesting is what's always been, especially since Dak Prescott got hurt, is the defense stepping up, right? So I think that's what's going to make Sunday night a bit interesting. I think what might not make it interesting is if they run the ball, play time of possession, run the ball, and then just put up a bunch of points and have forced the offense to score and, get into 11 personnel and play away from our game. I think that's what's going to ultimately end up costing us this game. But again, the number one thing, stop the run. Bucky Irvin has been on fire lately, and, he's been playing really well, like what normally was doing at Oregon. That's why a lot of Cowboy fans wanted to draft him with the 4th round pick that we wasted for a 3rd-string quarterback. So the second point, don't let Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan have free releases at the line of scrimmage. Again, Mike Evans has been doing this since 2014. It's like September of 2014. He's just been the consistent pro for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's been like their Zach Martin. That's been their consistent guy that always gets 1,000 yards, and that is a guy that is chasing for that 1,000 yards to surpass, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. He's trying to further cement himself into Canton, Ohio. So make his life tough, have him go off another week, have him have that 11 catches, 256 yards, and 3 touchdowns that he'll normally have on a weaker secondary. Have him have that next week. Again, I say that a bunch of times, hey, don't let them go off. And what does the Dallas Cowboys end up doing? They end up letting stuff like that happen. But I'm being for real. Don't let Mike Evans go off again. But again, he's another great player. He's a Hall of Famer. So you can only hope to contain these Hall of Famers. There's no way that you completely shut them down and lock them up for the rest of the game. We've done it before, but it's going to be a little bit tougher, right? Of course, force some turnovers. Baker will do that at times. He has a stat where, he has thrown 14 interceptions, but there has been a stat where he turns the ball over majority of the time in the second quarter because they feel like he's trying to play a lot of hero ball and trying to sway the momentum into their favor going into the second half. So he will be a little bit more risky in the second quarter if it appears to be a closer game. So we have to pay attention for that as well. And then also Baker likes to take off as well. That's why I wish we had a DeMarvin Overshown to kind of spy, kind of watch Baker Mayfield. But you have Maris for that job as well. I think Maris Lufalo did a really good job last week watching out for a guy like Bryce Young when he did escape the pocket. And then also what the Dallas Cowboys have to do is find the weakest link on the offensive line and attack it in passing situations. So if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers want to get pass happy, they want to throw the ball 30, 35 times, let's make sure that we find the weakest link on their offensive line. I think it would mainly be on that right side of that offensive line, away from Tristan Wirfs, of course. So let's try to put Micah Parsons on that interior of that offensive line where Barton is, or you want to put him in that right tackle spot where Cody Mock is. If you want to attack that spot, let's make sure that we do that. And, I'm not too worried about that. I know Mike Zimmer is going to do his part of his job. But I think the other Mike that we do need, of course, to step up in all these situations is offensively, right? Offensively, we have to stay balanced, and you have to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. You got to understand that you can't throw the ball 35, 40 times, although Mike McCarthy likes throwing the ball a lot. That's just who he is. That's what's in his DNA. He loves to throw the ball a lot, right? He gets pass happy when he shouldn't be. But that's why it's important that if we stay balanced like how we were mainly in the game versus the Bengals, I think, you could have won that game. Right? If you stay balanced like how you did versus the Carolina Panthers and you get some turnovers, I think this game could be a blowout. I think you could ruin the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or just make their route to further trying to win the South a lot harder. So I feel like if you stay balanced, you should be able to win this game. But when you are running the ball, make sure that you do attack the edges. Again, they're going to be very tough to run on in the middle when they have Kalijah Kancey. Remember, player out of Pitt that a lot of people liked, and they were trying to coin him and trying to give him that Aaron Donald term because he came out of Pitt and he was an undersized interior defensive lineman. Still a really solid player, but not to that standard. But Vita Vea is a damn good defensive tackle, and we've been seeing that since 2018 when he came out of Washington. And it's gonna be tough running on the Bucs, of course, when Vita Vea is in the game. But when you're running them on the edges, they haven't quite found that defensive end that can be stout on the edge. So let's make sure that we do run the ball. Let's get some outside touches to Kevontae Turpin, CeeDee Lamb, Rico Dowdle, get him in space, crack tosses, things of that nature. I think we should be fine. What you should be doing, every solid offense should be feeding their playmakers the ball. That's something really new. And then last but not least, limit the turnovers and the penalties. I think that if you don't turn the ball over offensively, and then if you're able to control the penalties that you're able to control, that's pre-snap penalties, that's touching the quarterback way too late after the ball's already released, touching wide receivers, tight ends, any sort of receiving option, past 5 yards for that illegal contact penalty, things of that nature. I think if you limit those mistakes, you should be able to stay in this game a lot longer, and you should be able to try and win this game. But yeah, that's about it for the video. Again, briefly going over the ways in which that we can beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is one, stop the run. Baker Irvin has been on fire lately, so let's make sure we have a handle on that. Don't let Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan have free releases at the line of scrimmage. Force some turnovers because Baker will give you the ball. Find the weakest link on the offensive line and attack that in passing situations. Offensively, stay balanced. That's the only way in which I believe that you can win this game is staying balanced. When running the ball, make sure that you do attack the Bucs on the edge because we do need a great game from this interior of this offensive line, especially against Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea. And then feed your playmakers the ball. That's obvious. And then last but not least, limit the turnovers and the penalties. So that's about it for the video. Hope you guys have a nice day. Stay safe, stay blessed, and happy holidays to everyone. Bye.